Sorenameka Saretikinyameka. Welcome, Saretake Sareninyameka, to this wonderful space. Saretake Sareninyameka of connectivity, of love, of compassion. Saretake Sareninyameka of remembrance. Saretake Sareninyameka. Welcome back to you, Saretake Sareninyameka, as you continue to remember Saretake Sareninyameka, parts of yourself. Saretake Sareninyameka, parts of our self. Saretake Sareninyameki. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about 5 things that have helped me during my Kundalini Awakening process. Before I start into that, because it's Kundalini Awakening related, I'm sharing something with you. So I signed up to run for Yoga Warrior 2022. The one that wins gets to be featured in Yoga Journal, and at the same time wins $10,000. With those $10,000, I'm setting up a nonprofit organization to help people through their awakening process, especially those that don't have any means. Because honestly, I went through that. I went through like phases of not really having money or worrying about how to pay bills or how to, and it was honestly mostly in the worry of my partner, and I would be in the zone of like, I gotta trust, but still doing things, and still hit me. And then not really having enough money to do many fun things, or it was just challenging. And on top of that, being a human or trying to be quote unquote a normal human, trying to fit in a society while still opening up to many of my abilities and everything else that was going through the Kundalini Awakening process. So to me, it's very important what I do, because had I had a person, a guide, a teacher that guided me during the first years of my Kundalini Awakening, things would be very, very different right now. And I honestly don't, it's not that I wish my journey was different, because I get it, I understand it. But then I also understand that the journey of others can be more easy because of my journey and my ability to hold space for them and to guide them through those processes. So that is the main reason why I'm running for this, really. And so voting starts on March 15, and I invite you to vote for me if you feel it in your heart, if you really resonate with my work. And I'll have the link down below. And if you don't feel like you want to, don't worry. But help will be greatly appreciated, and spread the word too if you feel called for it. All right, stepping into the 5 things that have helped me through the awakening process. Thank you so much for listening, by the way. So the first one, which I talked about this in another episode, and you can tune in into that one, Kundalini Awakening and Kundalini Yoga. Kundalini Yoga. That has been the number one thing, practice, portal, whatever you want to call it, whatever I call it. Sometimes it's a practice, sometimes it's a way of being, sometimes it's all of it, sometimes it's a portal, sometimes I don't even know what to call it. But it's really, I cannot imagine my journey without it. And again, you can understand more because I go into depth in that episode. But here I just want to tell you that, goodness, it was there for me. It helped me. The energies that came through as I practiced, as I sat with my practice, as I did it, even at times I didn't want to do it, even at times my back just ached so much that I couldn't be sitting up. Literally, this has happened multiple times. And I will be in my back doing the practices, laying down on my sheepskin, doing the practice, honestly. And so it really has helped me. It held this amazing container of my own transformation, my own container, because it is, you do it through the practice. It's not like the practice comes and be like, hey, here you have it. It's a constant thing that you're doing. It's a constant portal that you're doing. It's an amazing space holder for you that is being created by your own energies. And so here, I honestly, in my opinion, every single being should, or I would say must, try Kundalini Yoga at least a couple times. The first time, because the mind, at least on the side of the world in the Americas, is more like guided towards doing something like vinyasa yoga, hatha yoga, so if there's something that is completely disrupting that vision, it's like, oh shoot, no, never mind. And because it is challenging in many different ways in the other kinds of practices, then a lot of people just kind of give up on it, And I mean, I do have to say that I was in a way one of those people, because once the first practice that I did of Kundalini yoga, even though I loved it and I felt at home and I went out of my body in that class, it took me months to go back to it. But as I've said before in my story, I went back to it straight into doing a teacher training. And I had no idea what Kundalini yoga was. And I'm glad I did. I've done 2 teacher trainings and I will do another one, honestly. Definitely. But the thing is that it helped me. It helped me when I thought I couldn't hold myself, when I felt that nobody was holding me. That space that I was creating, that portal, because I was meditating in the same spot every single day at the same hour, most of the time, I was creating a portal transformation for myself. So the energies that I put into it helped me every single moment. Even when, again, I couldn't hold myself, even when I believe I was unholdable, it was just there guiding. Like there's so much that happens in the energetic. So this is why I'm so grateful and I honor everything that comes through me and I see it and everything that is shown to me, because I'm at awe at everything that can happen there and how those energies really support us. And when we have technology like Kundalini yoga or a practice that is so strong and it cleanses so much of the being, it creates something so powerful for you that is side to side to you, and at times it merges and at times it's there and at times it merges again. It's like something that you can access all the time. And that energy, of course, it's not that it wants to be away from you, but it really just wants to be in you and integrated. At the beginning, it might be so challenging to feel that can be integrated in you. You might have like a beautiful glimpse of what it feels like to just be in love with yourself and in love with life and those kinds of energies, like the essence of life. But you have those kind of glimpses and then it's there and it's like, I know I can tune into that again. I know I can. Even in those moments, they're super challenging. That's what it also helped me with. Because honestly, like if I could send you telepathically the visions of my trances, because they were wild, what I felt, how I sounded like, what my body did. Have I not had that practice? I'm not even sure how my journey would have been like. And honestly, I don't want to know because it worked out pretty good, So I don't want to even put that in my field. And this is something why I'm just literally saying, just give it a shot. Just give it a shot. And I really want to thank this wonderful woman that commented in one of the videos of the podcast, just saying, like, have you thought about putting your classes online? And honestly, no, I hadn't. And perhaps it's something that I will implement once I have more time to dedicate for that, because it's very important. It is really, really important. So that's one aspect of it, Kundalini yoga. And I invite you, if you have that thing of like, oh, I don't know, Kundalini yoga, what is this? Like, be curious about that space, Why is it that there's that little like, I don't know, there's a reason why it's there. And there's something that will eventually empower you if you give it time and space for it to speak and be integrated in you. For sure. So the second thing, resting. Okay, so resting is important whether you're going through a massive Kundalini awakening or not, period. Your body needs to reset in a way. Your body needs to make sense of what just happened throughout the day or what just happened at work or what just happened in the sound healing or in a yoga class. It just needs to chill, a bit. It needs to chill. And at times in our society, it's just like going, and the body's like, or your energies are like, dude, can you just give me 5 seconds? Can you just be still for a bit? Can you just turn off the TV and all these things that give you so much stimuli and just be with me? And in that space, again, there's so much healing, so much restoration that happens. And honestly, during the part where I had major trances, okay, at times I didn't have time to rest because they were happening over and over and over and over and over. And I've seen sometimes like 2 times a day, sometimes 2 times a day, sometimes once a day, and like almost like every single day for almost 6 months. But there will be times where my body would just collapse, like literally after a trance. It would just collapse and I couldn't move. And it's resting because afterwards I either had to hold space for others or teach at the center that I was teaching in Cusco or whatever it was, but my body knew, my being knew, like we're doing this massive trance. Okay. And then afterwards we're collapsing and just taking rest. Okay. And integrating whatever happened. And I do this, honestly, I take rest every single day throughout the day. I take a nappy, this is what I call it, a nap, after lunch, pretty much every day. And if I'm too busy, then I make sure that I rest throughout the day again, I lay down after working out, after doing yoga asana, after a live video, after holding space for somebody, after having a session with a client, after doing a podcast, after sending an email, like literally, because there's so much that passes through. And at times my body just needs to relax and vibrate and integrate and let go or listen to more messages, and period. And so it's very important, because that space of resting, goodness, it opens up so much in you that at times maybe some people are not aware if they haven't gone through something as intense as my Kundalini Awakening. But I know how it is for me. And it's definitely, I'm not the only one that this happens to, and this is what I also tell my clients. I'm like, you must chill, you must rest. And it's not that I was always like this, I had always been most of the time on the go. I have so much energy being a Leo. I really have so much energy at times. And as I grew up, with the energy of my mom too around, and she was always constantly in the go, like either working or doing something for us or cleaning. And she will make sure that everything was absolutely done before she actually chilled. And at times she would be so tired that she couldn't even do these things, but still she will do it. And because I saw that growing up, and I still see it when I visit my parents in Las Vegas, of course it was in my system, what you see is what you implement to as a kid. So I had to work very consciously with one of my mentors, because she was like, you need to rest. You can't just like collapse after not having any energy whatsoever. And I'm like, yeah, sure. It's true, So then I started to do that, I started to make sure that I wanted to get done this in a day, let's say 3 things, but still like working out and doing yoga and whatever else, and still resting in between. And I realized that as I was resting in between those tasks, that I will even have more energy. And I didn't felt like so pooped out by the end of the day. And I still even did those things in the most powerful way yet. It's not that I wasn't even doing it powerful, but imagine if your mind is super tired, your body is super tired, and you're trying to do a task, whatever it is. And then it's like, how is this energy going to circulate if the energy is just saying, time out, time out. So this is why I do it, and of course, this goes in number 3. One of my most favorite places to rest is nature. And I've done this pretty much my entire life. The moments that I was disconnected from nature was when I was severely suicidal and severely depressed and anxiety and all those kinds of things, but it was really good for me once my puppy, she's now my angel. She's always been my angel, but now she's literally my angel. When she came into my life in 2013, when I was at the peak of my depression, and I will take her to the park with her other fur baby, Toby. And, it was either like me alone most of the time, if my ex at the time was working, or we will go at night together at the park and just let them do their thing and just have a picnic and just chill. And I will go there and practice yoga and dance, hug trees, just lay on the grass, whatever, And I do it here in Lawrence. There's a spot that I call it my empowerment spot. And I just go there. I go there, I lay down on the bench, I look at the trees, I look at the sky, I pay attention to the wind, and I pay attention to the elements, and I receive and I recharge. So powerful. There's something about nature, that the energy of the mother, think about this, nurturing you. And she's doing this all the time, literally. She's doing this all the time. But at times we're not even paying attention to these things. But in nature, it's easier to pay attention to that. Because she just holds you. She holds you. She loves you. She sends you energy. Because we're not different from the trees, like we're part of the same ecosystem. So it's not like the trees see us as like, oh shit, here's human. From my experience anyway, in listening, it's just like, here's a family. That's my brother, that's my sister, whatever, there's connections that go from the trees to us, from the plants, from the soil. So powerful. And it's beautiful to walk barefoot. Have you ever, or when was the last time that you gave yourself the chance to walk barefoot on nature? Oh my gosh. Like at times I just go outside this little like garden or like grass patch and I just put my feet there. If I'm too busy to actually go into the nature spot, even though I do make time for it, honestly, that's part of what I call my practices, but it's also part of my pampering practices because I know how it makes me feel. I know my connection to nature, and it's something that I'm like, I look forward to every single day. And if I cannot make it one day, I connect differently. There's trees around too. So, but it's important to recharge. And this is like a part of number 2 and number 3, recharge. Recharge, recharge, recharge. There's so many things that happen through a Kundalini awakening. There's so many activations, there's so many releases, there's so many integrations, there's just so much receiving, there's so much opening of your being. Imagine yourself as a small seed, and this happens and you're cracking open and you're growing. So like there's a lot, it's a beautiful process for sure. But it's a lot that happens. It's a lot that happens in your being, in your physical body, in your energetic bodies. So it's crucial to pause. It's crucial to rest. It's crucial to recharge. And again, one of the fastest way of recharging is nature. So going into number 4, I love it. 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 Dancing. And a lot of people perhaps don't really like this idea of dance. And I'm not, whatever dance is for you, and that's cool. That's how your own definition of dance. What I'm talking about more is intuitive dancing, just letting my body move. And this is the power of tuning into the wisdom of the physical body. This is the power of opening up the conversation with it so that you know what it needs, and you open up the space for it to move. Not you thinking about how you should move the physical body, but the physical body itself moving, restoring itself, moving the energy, putting itself back to balance. So it's kind of also in a way related to nature and resting, okay? But this is consciously moving energy in your being, which is dope. And it's powerful. And of course, any kind of dance does this, even like EDM and things like that, or like salsa, what else is it, reggae. So of course these things do it, when you're just in the music, there's no separation between the music and your movements, but you're it, and it is you. Okay. And then you're just dancing and moving, and you feel it in your veins, and you just feel it within everything in you. Magic happens here because you're not here. You're not in the mind, so the mind has paused a little because you're in the moment and you're feeling everything within yourself, and you're enjoying yourself, and you're allowing the body to move. Have you ever just gotten lost dancing? Like to me, it happens so many times in festivals. And like And people will look at me like, holy shit, how are you moving your feet like that? And I had no answer for that. I literally had no answer for that because I was so in it that I lost myself. And asking like my perception of what this personal consciousness is. And the body was just free. My energy was just free. And I would just move and dance, do whatever I wanted to do. So with any kind of movements, you're moving some kind of energy, So right now I'm moving the energies in the front of my heart and the throat. If you're moving up here, above the head, then you're moving from the crown and the upper chakras. If you're moving the feet, you're moving the energy from down below, depending on what you do. You see what I mean? So there's a movement of energy that you're doing it. So when we get to do this consciously, this is also a part of alchemy. Oh my gosh, how dope is this? So this is also part of alchemy, So this is what I do. Times when I need to just okay, disconnect from this kind of task and just be present in the moment so then I can connect to another task. What is the quickest way to do it? And for me, at times, it really is dance. I just put a song on and I move and I let my body move and crack because it still cracks. And whatever it wants to do, one song. And that's it. And then most of the time afterwards, I relax my back for a little bit and then I go into doing whatever else I want to do. One song. There's different kinds of lengths of songs, but one song can be 3 minutes. 3 minutes, in the scheme of things, 3 minutes is nothing. So you can give yourself 3 minutes to dance. And if you think this is silly, here's the other thing, Well, be curious about that. Why do you feel silly about it? What is there, What is the resistance? This is so fascinating, by the way, because this is how I also tell my clients, and myself included for sure, remember I am my guinea pig, my own guinea pig too, and my boyfriend too. But so what is that resistance? And why is it there? What is trying to tell you? And then can you access that space without tension? Can you welcome it and be curious about why it's there and where will it lead to you? How amazing is it? Because it's there for a reason and it will lead to you somewhere, which of course is for your highest good. So why not? Curiosity is a beautiful thing. Children are so curious. Babies are so curious. How have we changed, in the perception of seeing the human being? The curiosity kind of ends when you're a kid. I mean, it's always inside of us, the inner child. Curiosity is wonderful. Curiosity will lead you to different places, to really elevated places. I'm talking about things that you really want to do in your life, like being curious of your own abilities of getting there. Can you get there? Of course you can get there. You set your mind into something, you definitely can do it. Your entire energy into something, you definitely can do it. So being curious about okay, if I get here, what else am I capable of? And then you get into another point. What else am I capable of right now? You see? It's a never-ending cycle, journey. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. Going into number 5. Chanting. Mostly Kundalini yoga mantras. So this is super linked with number 1. Chanting mantras, holy smokes. I can tell you that in the most challenging moments of my awakening and life in general, I just put headphones on, put mantras and just chanted my heart out and cried so much. At times, I will just put my phone, if I didn't have my headphones, I would put my phone on the super high volume and collapse on my knees in front of my altar and just chant and again cry. At times I will ask for something, but most of the times I will just be show me a presence. Show me a presence that I know I'm not crazy. Let me feel this. Let me feel this because I know there's something good here, but I cannot get it with my mind. Let me feel this with my heart. And shoot, it was definitely like a shift of energy, you know? But it also takes that self-love and that dedication, because a lot of times, you know, when as humans we are in a bad mood or very sad, we either tend to just put that aside, pretend that everything is cool, or we're like so in that space, you know, and we don't want to do anything. And it's a self-sabotaging pattern. We don't want to do anything and we stay in it. We stay in it. And that is the most important moment to do something about it. I'm not saying do something about it to like totally disregard your emotions, to invalidate those things, you know, because at times, like, I know that if I'm feeling something deeply, I'm feeling it for a reason. But there's also a separation in the way of like what separation is. What I mean with separation is like a distinction, you know, in between being feeling it and also allowing yourself to go and spiral all the way down and just go like, so yes, feel it. You know, it's there for a reason. And again, is a teaching, is a teacher that is coming through in the forms of emotions. You know, something is no longer vibrating at the level that you are vibrating at the moment. So it's ready to be alchemized, it's ready to be integrated. But the other thing is like, it's just like going into the victim mentality and just like believing that you cannot get out of there. And then you're punishing yourself because you're staying in it over and over and over and over again. And you're not trying whatever it is that you know that is good for you to fully come out of the space as you're integrating those energies, or you're not trying something new. You know, a lot of times people are in the space and they just do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and they're still in the space. So at times some things do work, you know, and at times some things don't work. And so when it doesn't work, it's like an indication of trying something new. There's so many things that I do to be where I am, you know, to stay centered, to be the human that I came here to be, you know, the human that people told me to be. And at the same time, be the superhuman, you know, like that, literally that space in between that. Okay. And so, like I said, there are multiple things: Kundalini yoga, yoga asana, sound healing, exercise, nature, dance, chanting, drumming, like, I mean, sisterhood, community, you know, there's like so much, like playing, taking care of my inner child, like being silly, like making faces, like there's so many things that I do, you know. And of course, at the beginning, I only had like a small like tools in my toolbox, and now of course it's bigger, right? But again, that's an indication. If you're implementing the things that you think that, for sure, I'm sure they do help you, but they help you and they're not helping you fully alchemize that energy, then be curious. See, here's this word again: be curious about other things that can help you. And of course, maybe the mind will be like, no, I don't need this, you know, but like, think about how long you've been in that space. How long are you willing to be in that space? If you're willing to be in that space for the rest of your life, and that's what you feel like, ask yourself why, first of all, you know, why? This is a self-sabotaging pattern, again, that is showing up in such a major space. Are you being too stubborn to put yourself out there and see something else and try something new? Is the fear like blocking you from trying something new, you know, from expanding, for connecting in whatever way you connect, you know, whether it's with yourself or others or nature or animals, whatever, because it's important. It's important. So for me, once I found chanting, you know, and of course I experienced that through my first Kundalini yoga teacher training with the mantras, you know, like it was game changing. It was like, holy shit, these things go really deep in us, really, really deep. And of course, I have a super strong connection with the Kundalini yoga tradition. I definitely, I'm not going to say that I don't, because I super do. The moment that I started practicing that, I was like, yes, this is it. This is literally my main gig in a way, my main thing that I take in to take care of myself. Some people might not feel like that. Some people it might be your third kind of deal, maybe asana practice is their main thing, or maybe chanting is their main thing, or maybe dancing is their main thing. You know what I mean? So not all these things will be like the very first one for you. And again, I'm just sharing all the things that have actually helped me and still help me in my journey. So with chanting, because in Kundalini yoga, there's so many mantras, there's mantras for healing, for connection, for just you name it. I knew exactly what kind of mantra I wanted to chant, and I will do it. And I will chant and I still do, from the core of my being, from the core of essence of life. That's how I chant, because that's how I alchemize energy too. When I have a pain that is just so much to bear, that I've been crying so much and then I don't even know what else to do with it, I just chant it out. And I chant that pain. I chant that anger. I chant that frustration. I chant that bliss. I chant that excitement. And I let it just express, and I let it just open me one more time, like this seed just rip me open in the most wonderful way. It's just, it's divine. It's divine. And like I was saying before, when big things started to happen in my awakening and I had nobody guiding me, that was my safe space. The space, my altar, the space in front of my altar, mantras, just chanting, connecting to something bigger than me, so that I could not feel alone, so that I knew that I wasn't crazy, so I knew that I was in the right spot. And honestly, many things will appear regarding into the masters of Kundalini yoga. And it was wonderful. And it still is wonderful. It really still is wonderful, because I still do it. And I love it. I go through phases where maybe every single day I'm listening and chanting mantras. Sometimes, they're not all day long, but I have so much devotion to them. And again, I know it's because this is not the only lifetime that I've been chanting these mantras. I've been chanting these mantras for eons, okay? But I do have devotion to every single thing that I do. I have devotion to my asana practice. I have devotion to my Kundalini practice. Even if those practices honestly are 10 minutes, okay? Even if I wake up really late and I'm just I'm still kind of in another space, in another realm, but I go and I do the practice, and I'm there present, and I do it with devotion, and I do it because I know I love it, and I know it connects me, and I know it's me. It's not something outside of me, but it's something in me that is helping me remember more and more and more. So everything I do it with devotion. When I go into my empowerment space in nature, before I enter that space, I bow to it. And I stop and I breathe and I say hi. I honor it. And again, I enter. And then I begin to listen and to enjoy that space. The same thing when I'm resting. And this is why, it's very important to rest, because I'm honoring that space in me. And I'm again doing it with devotion. I know when my body needs to rest. And sometimes, honestly, it's not even that long. Sometimes it's a minute. Sometimes it can be 3 minutes. There's, of course, times where it's just okay, I'm just chilling. But it just changes, the same thing with dancing. It's being there with it is so important, and knowing why you're doing it, not to get something out of it, because you enjoy it, because your being enjoys it, and it changes something inside of you. It activates something inside of you. You remember something. You see the difference? And that is when those practices become you. And again, it's not something outside of you, just a remembrance that practice is also you. Holy smokes. So powerful. So powerful. are the 5 things that have helped me through my Kundalini Awakening. They still help me. I still do them. And again, they're not the only things, okay? But they're just the major bubbles, the major portals that have helped me. And then there are all mini bubbles, you know? And so, like I said, find yours. Maybe some of this will resonate with you. That's amazing. You know, try it out. Maybe you have something else. Maybe you make music and that's your thing. That's your zone. Who knows, you know? Only you know. So see what really works for you and stick with that. Literally stick with that. When I was really depressed and suicidal, I lost my job because I was trying to kill myself. And my ex, you know, took me to the emergency room because there was a moment that he said, like, we gotta do something else, you know? And so I was like, okay, take me, take me to the emergency room. And I stayed there for a night, and then they took me to another institution that it was horrible, that I don't understand how they think that people with suicidal tendencies and depression will actually get better, because I got worse. But then I used my techniques, you know, I just put that amazing mask on and I said, I'm good. I get it. I didn't get it, you know, but I did get that if I stay there any longer, I was just going to go like, and I was like, no way. I'm going to do this in a different way. So I got myself out of there. But when I was like fully massively depressed, and after all these things were happening, and I lost my job because of that incident, I found bar. It's a type of exercise that I practice like 6 times a week, really. And my thing was like, once I found it, and it was really my first love, honestly, I knew it was helping me. It was, my body was changing. Of course, it's exercise, right? But it was also changing the way that I looked at myself. And I made it very clear to myself, like, you're getting out of the house at least 1 hour a day to go to bar. The rest, do whatever you want, or don't do anything, because I wasn't really doing much. So, you know, if you have been depressed, like, I'm sure that you understand that. And so I did. I committed. Even the moments that I didn't want to go, I went. Even the moments that I want to be curled up in a ball and feel sorry for myself, I went. And that was my commitment to myself, showing up to myself, even though I didn't want to show up. Okay. So the reason why I'm saying this is to commit to something. After that, you know, my commitment was asana practice, like vinyasa yoga. And then after that, it became that also in meditation. And after that, it became Kundalini yoga. And I found that Kundalini yoga for me is just perfect. Okay. And again, it was a remembrance that I had done that many times before. And it was recorded in my system of something so dear, because it's me. Okay. So maybe that for you is asana practice. Maybe that for you is exercising, you know, or doing ballet or something. But for me, it's Kundalini yoga. So I stuck with it because I knew, you know, that's my main thing. Because again, Kundalini yoga brings up so much, you know, pranayama, mantras, meditation, asana. So it's like a whole thing that a lot of other practices don't have. So I concentrated on that because that's what I felt. So concentrate on something that you know is good for you, even if it's challenging. Kundalini yoga, honestly, is challenging, period. It's challenging. It's challenging for me still too. And I've been practicing this since 2016. It's been what, like 6 years? I mean, come on, you know, I do the same practice every single day for the past 2 years. And at times it's still freaking challenging, but I don't let that get in my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, you know, especially those moments that I don't want to do it. Of course, it's challenging, but I still show up, and I still show up with so much devotion, and I still show up, you know, show up, commit to show up. This is going to change your awakening process, because then it will give you a foundation, which it will be the remembrance of your foundation. And you do it every day. You do it every day. You commit to that every single day, especially when you don't want to show up, especially when there's other people around you saying like, don't do it, let's go do something. Give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. Let me do this thing and then we'll go. 5 minutes at times if you feel you don't have time. My practice this morning was like maybe 10, 15 minutes because my body was too tired. And last night I said, I'm not setting up an alarm clock. I'm letting my body rest for as long as it wants to rest and then wake up. So I woke up a little bit past 8 a.m., which for me is really freaking late. Normally by the time I'm already done meditating and stuff and I'm having breakfast. But so I was like, I'm still doing this practice, even if it's shorter, you know? And again, commitment and devotion, not because you're getting something out of it. I mean, not with that idea in your head, you know, just doing it because it's you and you're worth it all. You're literally worth it all. That's why you show up. That's why you do these things, you know, to expand and to go back into that remembrance that you're everything, that you're everything and you already have it all and that you're not broken and nobody can fix you. You know, people can lead to you, help you with little tools to go back into that remembrance of yourself, your story, our story. But you're not broken. You're not broken. Even if you're going through suicidal tendencies right now and depression, if you do, please get some help. Please get some help. Even if you don't want to get help, it's so crucial that those parts right there, and I'm telling you from experience, that suicidal tendencies and depression are the greatest teachers. But I also know that it's a very rough space. It's a really rough space. And a lot of people do succeed in killing themselves. A lot of people do. And if you're going through that, or you went through that, but especially if you're going through that and you're hearing this, please get some help. Because once you pass that, gosh, life will be completely different. And I swear it will be completely different. Because then you will have a different perspective in life. And because you had the courage and the strength of going through that and coming out of that, integrating many things of you, gosh, your strength, unstoppable, literally unstoppable. This is one of the reasons why I love life so much. Many times, honestly, that I had thought that I was like, shit, how am I still here? With everything that I've done to myself, how am I still here? But this is why I'm here. Not only to help through the awakening process, but also to help empower yourself. And I did it. And I know a lot of people say like, yeah, that meme, if I can do it, you can do it. And they laugh about it, but it's so true. If I can do it, you can do it. Because that strength that we have inside of us is inside of us all, you know, inside of the person that thinks is the top of everything, and inside of the person that feels like it's nothing. It's inside of all of us. And sometimes it does take the person to go through something brutal, so big, like the depression and suicidal tendencies, to tuning into that. But it's not that it hasn't been knocking on your door, you know, it's just that we didn't pay attention until then. So you can, we all can, period. We all can. So remember the strength and the love that runs through the Buddha, that run through Gandhi. It's inside of you. It's inside of you. The strength of the earth, the strength of the elements, the power of the elements is inside of you. And you can tune into that. And these tips can help you do that in your awakening. And maybe one fully resonated, or maybe a couple did, or maybe none of them. But then you know what can really help you. So let that be your foundation. Let that be the one thing that you commit to do it every single day. Let it be just the one thing. Start with one thing. And if you are more advanced in your journey, you want to implement more things, implement more things. That's dope, you know? And commit, show up, know why you show up, and continue to show up. Continue to show up. Because you show up, we all show up. Wow. That was really powerful. I definitely feel that in my heart. I'm sure you do as well. It's a big heart expansion right now. Yeah. We are all deeply loved and deeply supported. May this serve you very well, you know? May this serve you very well. Feel free, please, to share this with somebody that really needs to hear this, or it will really help them. Comment if you would like, you know, to say how this felt for you, if it really helps you. I love reading your comments and also replying to them, and your emails too. Thank you for that. And yeah, anything else, I'm here for support. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, of your week, and I will see you next time. Ciao.